Hey everyone, welcome to Green Engineering Channel. Today we're going to be going over cupellation. Alright, for this process I suggest not focusing on what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to introduce all the products that I'll be using for the cupellation. But over the course of doing this, I've learned that it's actually only good for removing certain types of metal. Iron, cobalt, rubidium, some other metals. A lot of them were found in teeth and other objects. The ones you need to focus on are actually silica, Lethbridge, which is a fun name, but it's just oxidized lead, and then your medium. There's a lot of types of medium. Some people use Portland cement like you see in the right. Other ones use magnesium oxide and bone ash. Now, through doing this process a few times, I learned that magnesium oxide for me was the best to use. I got rid of all the excess chemicals that you're seeing me add to it. I added on specific quantities and I wanted to test, hey, if I use this much, can I still get it out? So on and so forth. And I've learned at the end of the day, you want to use double the weight of lead than the gold piece that you're going to refine, and that you need to focus on using silica. It'll help protect the gold from going and embedding into the Cupel itself. Also, you see on the right how I'm about to be adding all this stuff to Portland cement. I highly do not suggest this. What you don't see is those walls caved in and it mixed in with the molten material, and you just have a mixture of Portland cement and metal. If you're going to do this, I highly suggest refining the gold and silver down, and then you find out you have excess quantities of metals that won't go out through aqua regia, and you tried putting sulfuric acid in and it didn't drop any of that out. You then need to move on to cupelling. So on this process, grab yourself some bone ash or magnesium oxide cupels, relatively small if you're not using a lot, and just add Lethbridge and some silica. Now you may say, what in the earth is cupelling and why should I even care? So cupellation is the process of oxidizing base metals to be absorbed into a porous medium. That's why it's bone ash or magnesium oxide. And whenever it bubbles in there, think of it like a sponge, but only the gold and silver will sit on top, and all the base metals will be absorbed into the Cupel itself. That's why you need to keep in mind that this isn't the best method for just straight refining. It doesn't really work that way. And I would also avoid using chunks of lead. Lethbridge is cheap enough. You do not need to go through the headache, as you see on the right hand side, of melting down those lead bricks just to try and have it absorbed back into it. Cement already, and you see how careful I'm being because it's liking to move into it. And you'll see whenever I put it into the blast furnace, it's way more aggressive than I am. This will cause it to pretty much puck your metal. As you can see, it's going off and it's already blown some of the cement on top of it. So at this point, I'm just going to let it melt and sit. My goal right now is trying to get the temperature to around 900 degrees C. And I'm going to be looking for the beads to be forming these bubbles on top of it. Those bubbles is oxidation. Well, I kept checking, and there really was little to no beads on top. Now you can see I'm still keeping temperature. It's about 1,000 degrees directly on each one of the Cupels. I was trying to show you guys what the temperature is on the molting pools, but I was really struggling to get really good video of that. Now you can see on the top right hand corner the bubbling I'm talking about. And it would only do this after I pulled it out of the furnace. And that's because I'm not getting enough oxygen inside. So I took it out, measured them, realized that it was not really working. I did lose all the lead, but at the end of the day, I was not getting all of the base materials out of there, and I wasn't understanding why. And if you learn anything, you need to try again, because you can see me struggling to get this pickup any weight. And I was just like, man, something is wrong. Let's try it again outside of the furnace and see how that goes. Pointed directly into the center black hole. I did learn that I had to put a block on the back of it because it was losing too much heat too quickly. But you can see it looks like it works great. And it did work fairly well. It still was relatively slow to get it to Cupel, but I had a lot, and I mean a lot of Lethbridge in these runs. I think I was running 5 times the normal amount that I should have been running. And it still ended up working, but I was extremely disappointed in the results I was getting. I still didn't fully comprehend that Cupellation didn't remove a lot of the base materials I wanted, like copper. A lot of the copper was still left behind, and later on, whenever I run it through some nitric acid, just so I can try to drop out anything that's on the surface, you'll see it start to clear up. And it'll become shiny again. It'll look like actual gold instead of some weird black nugget that I just pulled out. And that lets me know that the gold just has surface levels impurity. So whenever the flame is off, all of the stuff there was oxidizing, causing that. Normally whenever you heat gold, it won't oxidize unless it has some trace amounts of impurities. Now you're seeing me in real time question all of my life decisions as I am heavily struggling to get good results. As you can see, I've cracked the center block from how much heat I was putting through it, trying to get all of these to Cupel. They were Cupelling. That's where you get that dark spots pulling out into it. But I'm not getting results that I want. So I keep running it again and again and again, trying to figure out what I am doing wrong. Now, one of the things I'm doing wrong is using electronic components that I thought were high yield, but were not. So I had a few points to where all of it was dissolved into the medium. And I was left with absolutely nothing, which saved me time and money because it was all base material. But as you see here, this is the itty bitty sliver I got from gold that I pulled from all those cupellations. It is being dropped into a nitric acid bath because I wanted to see if it was fully gold or if it would react and start turning more into the sponge-like material that happens whenever you mix gold and silver together to start the aqua regia process. And after heating and checking for myself, I learned that it's just impure gold with an oxide layer. It ended up being copper on the oxide layer. I heavily thought it was silver. There was little to no silver in there. You can see that the gold itself changed. It looks straight up like gold, so I wanted to try pulling it out and then remelting it inside of the magnesium oxide Cupel. And as you watch, you'll see it turn into a bead and then heavily darken. That was the telltale sign that I had impure gold on my hands. So I was like, man, forget it. I'm going to melt this back down. I'm going to drop it back into the nitric acid. And I'm going to put it away for later and have it tested. Well, I did have it tested. And then I re-refined it into 24 carats and then sold it back to the refiner. that is a good thing to always do if you needed money and you're doing this, is buy low, sell high. Can't say that enough. So at the end of the day, if you have these mess ups, they don't hurt you too bad. You may lose $100 here or there, but you're learning your skills as you go. And if you're just doing this for the aesthetics of having something that's higher quality, so you have maybe 10 carat, maybe 18 carat chain, and you want it 24 carats and just sitting at your home earning money along the time. Even if it has a little bit of impurities at the end, you'll probably have a higher yield product than you did before. And all you need to do is run it through a quick acid etching and it is presentable again. It will look very nice as a showpiece for others. Be like, hey, look what I did. Now, if you guys learned anything, I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments how I did. As always, have a nice day.